say from the Texas offense? Texas defense offense.
Very active up front. I think it really starts with their defensive front. Those guys have been there a long time. You know, Coburn's played a lot of football in this league, and just disruptive. They're hard guys to move. Linebackers Overshawn, I mean, he really flashes on film. Their secondary, it's guys that have played a lot of football in the Big 12, and so those guys are really sound with what they do. They're very active, and I think they're a defense that, in terms of creating negative plays, they do a really good job at it.
Obviously, they've changed, defensive schemes maybe a little bit. As Don noted, you've had a lot of success against them at TCU. How much of a benefit is that? Still kind of knowing what you're going up against.
Yeah, I think that with the new coaching staff, and the new defensive staff and offensive staff, you can probably throw a little bit of that out the window. Just from that standpoint, it's the same players, but the scheme and everything. I think probably the mentality and the mindset's a lot different than what it has been, and so you can really, that's all in the past, and it's experiences that you can learn from and draw from in terms of preparation, in terms of what to tell our guys to expect. But all that stuff has been done in the past, and we've got a tough road to sled on Saturday.
So when you have similar players with new coaching staff, do you try to attack them differently, or do you know, hey, the players, I know what kind of some of their weaknesses are, so I'll still attack them?
Yeah, we've competed against them every year, and as with all these teams in the Big 12, so you have an idea personnel-wise of what guys' strengths are, and get ways that you've tried to attack guys in the past, and then you have to look at, all right, scheme-wise, how similar or what they've been doing in the past, and then just try to figure out with them what you're doing, how to go out and attack them.
Coach, on Saturday, how would you assess the way Tyler played? Just, I know everyone talked about him focusing on Eric, but I guess just in terms of him being able to spread the ball, kind of your opinion to help him do that.
Yeah, I think playing more plays helped all of us. I think that after the first quarter, I think we only had 8 plays again, and so we were finally able to get first downs, get into a rhythm on offense, and I think part of that is Shuck being able to find those other guys, but also part of it is the game plan found those other guys too, and he did a really good job of distributing the ball. I thought he was extremely accurate, very poised. He's thrown the deep ball really well, which I think has helped our offense in terms of explosive plays, and I thought he handled himself really well, and another road test on Saturday. He's going to have to be extremely accurate and really stingy with the ball in terms of his decision making.
I know everyone's been talking about Taj and Xavier, but I guess just in terms of SaRodorick getting his first carry, I guess what do you see from him, and do you kind of expect to see him get some?
Yeah, hopefully he'll amp up and build up as we get into conference, and as we I think it's his conditioning and his feet get under him. Taj and Xavier have done a great job, and so it's just finding ways to get all 3 of those guys involved, and that's hard at running back, because I think in running back's a little bit of a rhythm position. Sometimes guys get better as they go, and so just finding the guy that's got the hot hand, and all 3 of those guys have done a great job.
I was going to ask, is that a hard balancing act? Because obviously you have SaRodorick, who's been the bell cow for the past couple seasons. Then is it hard to then justify that Taj and Xavier Hayes going to come back in and get a decent amount of carries, even though you guys have been producing so well?
Yeah, I think Coach Smith has done a great job in that room, just in terms of the communication and the expectations. And SaRodorick, the thing about players, they're really smart. SaRodorick was able to watch those first 2 games and see how well those guys have played too. And so competition makes everybody better. It also, each guy's a little bit different in terms of their strengths and what they bring. And so I think all those guys have a good head about them in terms of, hey, whose night is it going to be? Depends on really who has the hot hand. But we want to keep all 3 of those guys involved best we can.
Speaking of tight end group has got you multiple touchdowns. How are you able to incorporate them more against FIU, and how are you looking to use them heading into Texas?
I think the thing that, like all of our tight ends, Kuntz and Mason, the young guys as well, Jed, they bring is they're just so big. They're their size, they're a mismatch. And so I try to, for a while, it's a little bit of the comfort level of the quarterback's understanding. Like, these guys really aren't ever covered because they're such big targets and they're so big. And you saw that on Mason's 3rd and 4 catch that he caught on a 0 blitz over the middle of the field. His size, he was covered as well as that safety could have covered him, but he's open because he's 6'7" and he's 250 pounds. So we'd like to continue to incorporate those guys into our pass game. They've done a great job in the run game too, creating space, in our gap scheme, run blocking, and then also in their zone stuff. They've done a really nice job.
Speaking of blocking, the offensive line has been able to open up holes. Last week we talked, and one of the players said that they were still struggling the balance between the pass block and the run block. How has that been overcome via practice and after the FIU game?
Yeah, I think that the way we practice allows them to, because we do a lot of good on good in practice. And so that's the best way, as I've seen, is as you go throughout the course of the year, if you want to improve, you've got to go good on good some, and we do that. And I think they took the challenge upon themselves, and they improved in that area. And we've got to continue to improve in our pass blocking, and then also in the run blocking too. You know, as the road is going to definitely get tougher this week.
In terms of Mason, I guess I know you guys have talked about him during the offseason about having a good offseason. What's allowed him to be so good so early, especially being a freshman kind of coming into this?
I think it's just maturity and intelligence. That's a big play. I mean, he's a super smart kid. He's very mature. And hasn't really gotten rattled, you know. And I think coming in early, that helps you because physically he was able to get strength with Coach Scholes, explosiveness, and I think that extra spring and then the summer. Now, once you start fall camp, you're actually gaining. You know, you're not just trying to learn the offense and trying to hold on and hold on to your seat of your pants. So I think that really helped him.
In terms of 6'9" frame, is that something you've dealt with before in your coaching carear, or I guess?
No, I haven't.
What's that like?
Well, Joey Hawkins, yeah, I was a player when Joey Hawkins was playing here, and he was about 6'9", played basketball and big target. So, you know, and then of course Amaro, you know, when he was here, he wasn't quite that tall, but you know, was a pretty big target and ran well. So, who's the best tight end in Tech history in your opinion, Don? Jace, yeah.
And Jason Albrecht Tillman.
Okay, yeah.
Albrecht Tillman from the early 70s.
Yes, sir. Yeah, yep. Don't let Jace know you said that, though.
I saw him.
He's at the game, I think.
I saw him at Seaga's funeral.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Yep.
The receivers. Obviously, you had a bunch of receivers make splash plays,
Yeah.
highlights. Who played best down to down when people weren't really focusing on it? Who had like the best game Saturday night?
Yeah, I would think that it was probably KG. Just snap after snap, grading out. Eric was really high too, both of those starters. And the thing that you saw that you try to encourage your players about is with Loic, with Trey Cleveland, both of those guys have practiced really well the last 2 weeks. They hadn't let that, you know, they hadn't gotten a ton of snaps in a game slow them down. Their attitude, their practice habits were really good. And I think that you saw the fruits of their labor on Saturday where they were able to make plays and really nobody blinked when they were in the game.
How's that different from previous games in previous years for this team, with being able to show that not getting the ball is not going to let them down? They're still going to perform.
Yeah, I think that for like Trey and Loic, you know, they're still freshmen. They're young guys. I know they played last year and with the COVID year, you know, they're sophomores, I guess, but in their second year of college football. And so I think those experiences from last year and their consistency in practice has still got to be better. But I think that's the big thing is they made flashes last year at times, and now it's just being consistent week in and week out for those guys that are younger. And I think that you know, they have good guys to look up to in terms of Eric and KG from that standpoint.
Coach, I guess with John Robinson, you've obviously seen him a couple of times. I guess what are some things that really kind of stand out?
He's tough. He's got good balance. Runs hard. He's a jump cutter. So I mean, you gotta swarm and gang tackle him. You don't want a bunch of one-on-one tackles with him. To try to create population to the ball carrier and gang tackle.
Coach, just in terms of Casey Thompson, what he's been able to do, it seems like even in the Alamo Bowl game and then the game against Rice, he's been pretty efficient in terms of scoring touchdowns when he's out there. What has allowed the offense to be so efficient?
Yeah, you know, I mean, he has the ability, obviously, really both of them have the ability to extend plays, you know, keep the ball alive, let receivers get open. You know, he just seems to have a confidence in the game, you know. I don't know anything else behind the scenes, but I know that when he does play, that he seems to operate with a lot of confidence in himself and his ability, and I think the other guys around him probably buy into that as well.
Talking about confidence, your team, the defensive side has built up confidence. How important is confidence as you approach this first Big 12 game?
I think it's, you know, I mean, to me, it's game to game. I mean, because you can lose your confidence in a hurry. But, yeah, I like where we are mentally. I think our guys, you know, are more and more confident in the system. I think they're more and more confident in their ability to make plays. You know, I think we've had maybe five different guys have interceptions. I'm not sure. It seems like there's 5 different guys that have had interceptions and made big plays, and you know, at certain times over the course of the first 3 games. So they're confident and looking forward to the Big 12 opener for sure.
Coach, just in terms of, you talked about interceptions, and you guys have matched your interception total from last year. Is it just opportunistic being that, or is there something schematically, or is it just kind of chance?
I mean, if you just look at, I mean, you can go back to 2010, we had 36 turnovers. If you go back to 2018, we had 33 turnovers. I mean, I just think that it's something, I believe what gets measured gets results. And, you know, last year, you can't gauge anything on last season. I mean, you just can't. There was nothing normal about that at all. You know, you just, so I don't even consider last year a season, to be honest with you. It's just, you know, sometimes they just kind of come and go in waves, you know, and but I think it's just being ball conscious more than anything. And we got some guys that are ball hawks, and man, they want to go get the ball in the air.
What do you see as some of the bigger changes in the Texans offense this year under Sarkisian as opposed to last year?
You know, I mean, they're a run still, play action. They're going to try to take the top off the roof with deep post routes and cross country climbs and wheels out of the backfield. I mean, they like to throw the ball down the field. They also have RPOs built into their system, but you know, they still look like Texas. I mean, you know, big, athletic, you know, good running backs, good wide receivers, and got good players.
What's impressed you the most about your team's ability to stop the run so far this season?
I just think that up front we're just a lot bigger and more physical. I mean, kids actually had a chance to go through off season. They actually had a chance to work out and lift in our weight room, which they didn't a year ago. They got bigger and stronger, and I think they kind of surprise people. Because when you look at us, we don't look that big, but when they start playing us, I think they're kind of shocked with how powerful we are up front. And you know, they've gotten much better, much more physical, and that's where it all begins, up front.
Speaking of up front, how would you say Nelson and Bannister's played this year? What's his development been like?
You know, I mean, the biggest thing I've always challenged Nelson is just becoming consistent. He kind of goes in spurts, man. You'll see him flash, you know, 3 or 4 plays in a row, and then kind of goes quiet on you. Just trying to develop consistency with him has been the biggest challenge. Just trying to just stack success and you know, continue to stack those plays one after the other, and just where it's just, you know, the way you do anything is the way you do everything.
I remember when y'all first got here, he was basically gone from the program. And I think y'all, somebody talked him back in.
Yeah.
Staying. I don't know.
Yeah.
How much that was you, how much was Matt?
Yeah, he came into my office, and I had someone reach out to him. I didn't know him, but I can't remember. One of the GAs had said something about him, and I said, "Hey, well, get him over here." And so he came in my office, and we sat down. We had a good talk, and I just said, "I believe everybody deserves a second chance." And I said, "You know, you left the team. I mean, you were in good standing. Just disappointed in his playing time, and he came back and bought in, and has really gotten better and bigger and stronger, and like I said, we're just trying to develop consistency in his performance."